Hello, my name's Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the weekly neutrino forecast for January 25th to January 31st of 2015. And on January 25th, we have the sun. We can see it denoted here by this black circle with a dot in it. It's in Aquarius. It's in the 41st hexagram, and the chop mark for the 41st hexagram is on the outside of the wheel, numbered from bottom to top. The 41st hexagram goes yang, yang, yin, 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 yang. And then the 41st hexagram is mapped to an opening in an energy channel called a gate. And right here is the 41st gate of contraction, decrease, limitation of resources, which maximizes the development of potential, located in the root center in an abstract collective energy path in the sensing circuit called the channel of recognition, a design of focused energy, feelings, connected to the 30th gate of recognition of feelings, the clinging fire, freedom recognized as illusion, limitation as fate. And I found human design to be amazingly accurate in describing the person, that I use it as my primary tool when I provide readings. And we've got the following activated gates on the 25th. We've got the sun in the 41st gate. The Earth is in the 31st gate. The North Node is in the 48th gate. The South Node is in the 21st gate. Mercury is retrograde in the 13th gate. Venus is in the 30th gate. Mars is in the 37th gate. Jupiter is retrograde in the 4th gate. Saturn is in the 34th gate. We have Uranus also in the 21st gate. Neptune is also in the 37th gate, and Pluto is in the 38th gate. So obviously not every gate activation forms a channel, but this information can be very helpful if you know your human design chart, because some of these transits will form channels with potentials in your personal body graph. And you can get your human design chart by going to jovianarchive.com, click on the button that says get your free rave chart, and then just enter in your birth information. And the neutrino forecast is really just a weather report. No matter what the weather, your individual strategy and authority is the correct choice to have an authentic experience regardless of the program. As Ra Uru said, whatever the weather's going to be, you have your neutrino umbrella. As long as you're experimenting with your strategy and authority, the weather is for your pleasure. And we begin the week with one channel definition due to the transit field, with Venus in the 30th gate and the sun in the 41st gate. We've got the channel of recognition until the 27th, which is about having a dream for the sake of a dream, without the expectation of the dream coming true or bringing lasting peace. This is part of the abstract collective circuitry. So sharing the experiences of our hopes and dreams with others will have a profound ability to stir their feelings. And I'd expect folks to be more restless in their experience of this connection between the root and the solar plexus. So for those who do not have emotional definition, this channel can bring the unfamiliar wave of emotions, yearning to feel in order to learn. So we're going to be looking at the sun's Ravi Ching line values daily, because 70% of the neutrinos we receive come from the sun. And as Ross said in Living with the Program, The Lines of the Day, in talking about these shifts of line values, he said we can always take advantage of the themes of the day. If your strategy and authority does not lead you in that direction, you can always notice how the program is affecting others in your environment. So let's get started. On January 25th, we've got the sun. It's in the opportunist fourth line of the 41, and it's detrimented due to Venus being in the 30th gate, and described as correction, successful adaptation to limitation, detrimented the expenditure of energy on maintaining relationships rather than on correction. In times of decrease, weak associations are shunned as costly, no matter how attractive. The energy which fuels holding on to feelings rather than adapt. And fourth line days, in the opportunist line, people the energy is about friendship, companionship, networking, social interactions, things of that nature. Later on the 25th, the sun moves into the fifth line, the heretical line of the 41. The shift happening at 8:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All the times I'm giving you are Eastern Standard Time, so you want to convert those to your local time zone. The sun is detrimented in the fifth line of the 41 as well, due to Venus being in the 30. This is described as authorization, the external recognition of one's potential despite limitations, detrimented a persistent dissatisfaction with limitations, which hampers development even when supported. Limitations initiate the fuel for negative feelings. Excuse me. Fifth line days are heretical. It's a day of suspicion, but also universalization, where something can leak out and spread like a virus, a YouTube video or a Facebook post that gets millions of viewings. It's also, when we talk about this, we're talking about projection. The projection is positive first, followed by negative. Positive would be they could do it, they'd be great at it, they're the perfect person for whatever. And then if the person doesn't do it, can't do it, for whatever reason, it doesn't get done, then they don't meet that expectation, and that is when the projection turns negative and is punished. So even though they talk about paranoia being a theme of the fifth line day, as I've said before, it's only paranoia if they're not out to get you. And given the projection field, often they are. Seduction is also a theme of the fifth line day. On the 26th, the sun then moves into the sixth line. So it moves up into the role model line on the roof of the hexagram of the 41st gate. At 6:27 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 41-6 is contagion, the law that maximization of potential not only ends decrease, but inevitably such transcendence benefits others. Exalted, the maximization of the potential of form, the father whose success will benefit his children, the fuel for recognition through feelings, detrimenting the tendency in transcendence to keep it a secret, in fear of being deprived of its special advantages. The fuel for secret or repressed feelings. In sixth line days, or on the roof of the hexagram, in the role model line. If you think about being on the roof of your house, we don't tend to be looking at the roof so much as what's going on around the house, what's happening in the neighborhood, things of that nature. And Ra talked about not getting stuck with your head in the clouds, because you'll end up with something banging into your shins or kneecaps. It's a day where there's a lack of focus on what's going on around you, because folks are looking beyond their immediate environment. And like third line days, there's certain dangers of not seeing a car coming, not seeing a bill coming. Also on the 26th, Mars moves out of the 37th hexagram, leaving Neptune there, and it moves up into the 63 up here, coming out of the head center. And with this, we gain the definition of a head and ajna center. And so this shift it has Mars in the gate of doubt after completion. In the spiral of life, all endings are beginnings. And Mars is detrimented in the first line of the 63, which is composure, detrimented the tendency in achievement to immediately seek new goals at the risk of destabilizing what has already been accomplished. The pressure in achievement to still doubt one's capacities and to immediately seek new goals. And Ra talked about Mars being an extraordinary and immature energy resource that lacks refinement and is subject to outbursts. Mars in mythology is that warrior archetype. And by following our strategy and authority, we slowly refine the energy of our design and personality Mars from immaturity to wisdom. And Mars in the 63 connects to Jupiter in the 4. So we have the channel of logic until the 28th, which is about mental ease mixed with doubt. And none of us are designed to make decisions based on our minds. This channel brings mental gifts that should be used in service of others rather than trying to understand our own lives. When your strategy and authority presents you with someone who needs your clarity and inspiration, this transit can support that process. This is scientific thinking through being skeptical and questioning whether the logic or patterns are valid. This brings mental pressure to people without a defined head center, which in turn brings doubt when they're trying to analyze their own life. The definition is future oriented through looking at mental patterns and projecting them into what lies ahead. This can bring worry, as any answers revealed by this process will need to be tested and proved to determine if they have practical applications. The best use of this definition is for research purposes and testing of hypotheses, then recognizing that the results need to be invited before they're shared. And then on the 27th, we've got a lot of activity here. We've got the sun moving out of the 41st hexagram into the 19, which means this definition is no longer there. We also have Mercury moves out of the 13 and joins the sun in the 19. The Earth moves from the 31st to the 33rd, and Venus moves from the 30th into the 55. Like I said, a lot of transits here. So let's just start to go through these. We've got the Earth is in the 33rd hexagram. This is the gate of privacy, retreat, active withdrawal, and the transformation of a weak position into strength. The shift happens at 4:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the sun in the 19th gate of wanting approach, that all things are interrelated, is apparent and manifested through the action of approach. And the sun is exalted in the first line of the 19 and described as interdependence, exalted. The successful approach does not lose its individual character in acceptance. The pressure of wanting without losing one's identity when accepted by others. And we're in a new hexagram. So and we've got the first, second, third line. Lower trigram is about more personal process. People are more looking inward, absorbed in their own process. The theme of the first line day is a fear or anxiety that needs to be investigated. So it's a day to study, not to act, a day to look into things, not to jump. It's a good day to deal with things you don't understand, can't make sense of, or don't know. And Ross spoke about the sun going into the 19th in relation to the Rave New Year, and bringing the energy of I need, which puts a pressure to begin something new. And we feel the pressure of the new year beginning, the pressure of needs, the need to have enough food, enough resources, not just for you, but for the tribe, maybe some extra just in case the extended tribe needs resources, to have all the needs that are rooted in the material demands of living in the tribe and community, the needs related to home and family, the pressure to have the needed resources begins with the sun in the 19th gate. Also on the 27th, like I said, we've got Mercury retrograde from the 13th, joining the sun in the 19th. Mercury is the messenger of the gods and mythology. So this is communication, expansion of human consciousness through communication, not just as words, but as music. What do we need to communicate in life? Well, we communicate the message of our design Mercury through the medium of our personality Mercury. And what might be communicated when Mercury's in the 19th? The pressure to make sure the community exists and that it is that it has the needed resources to support the tribe. Again, we may hear people saying, I need during this time. This is the gate of wanting approach, that all things are interrelated, is apparent and manifested through the action of approach. Retrograde Mercury backs into the 6th line of the 19, because it's moving backwards from our perspective here on Earth. The Mercury in the 19th 6 is the recluse, the avoidance of contact in general, but not exclusively. Exalted, the fool on the hill, the sage, if you can find him, will talk to you. The energy which generally fuels avoidance. Detrimented, the sulking child, the self-imposed exile that will only end when it attracts an appropriate and soothing reaction. Oversensitivity to rejection, which fuels avoidance. And then also on the 27th, Venus moving from the 30th gate into the 55. So in human design, Venus is very powerful, deeply misunderstood according to Ra. It brings morality or values, natural law in which we deal with the other, and the consequences of the world around us, and what disturbs you on a moral level. Your design and personality Venuses tell of a moral dilemma that you're going to work with in your life, and that if you don't act with moral clarity, Venus can be unkind in its retribution. And Venus is in the 55th gate of spirit, abundance. Abundance is strictly a question of spirit. And Venus is detrimented in the first line of the 55, which is cooperation. Detrimented, the concentration on harmonic relationships with powerful forces that provide for continuity, but not necessarily advancement. The potential to harmonize with powerful forces, but not necessarily for the benefit of spirit. On the 28th, the sun moves out of the investigative line into the hermit line of the 19, where it's detrimented due to Mercury also being in the 19. This shift happens at 2:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 19.2 is described as service, the dedication of personal resources as a result of external contact. Detrimented, protracted indecision, but given the nature of this position, eventual compliance. The need to be wanted that will eventually turn its energy to service. And second line days, everybody's waiting for something. They're waiting to be called because of their natural talents. People are stuck in their own trip. It's not a great day to have a big social event because people really want to stay home. They want to stay in their hermitages. Also on the 28th, retrograde Jupiter moves out of the 4 and backs into the 7. Since this definition goes away, we still have Mars up here though, and then we've got Jupiter in the 7. So, just remember, when a planet's retrograde, it appears to be moving in reverse from our perspective here on Earth. So it's going to move from the first line of the previous, of the next hexagram to backing into the 6th line of the previous hexagram. So Jupiter is backing into the 7th hexagram. And in human design, Jupiter is generalized law, the electromagnetic central operating theater for the way in which the solar system operates. Living by the law can be we can gain great good fortune. Activations in our human design chart tell us the law that we must live by. And to benefit from the generosity only comes from our deep obedience to honoring our own law, your individual strategy and authority. And with Jupiter in the 7th gate of the role of the self, the army, the point of convergence by design, the need for leadership to guide and order society. Jupiter retrogrades back into the 6th line of the 7th hexagram, which is the administrator, the ability to share and justify power, exalted the power to communicate the frameworks of responsibility, the capacity of the self through its role to communicate responsibility, detrimented the bureaucrat whose lust for power eventually destabilizes the organization, the role of the self to seek power through communication of responsibility. And then on the 29th, the sun moves into the third line. So now we're into the martyr line of the 19. And this shift happens at 12:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 53 minutes after noon. The sun in the 19.3 is dedication, receptivity to approach that can only be maintained through vigilance, exalted the natural ease with which communication is maintained, sensitivity and ease fueled by acceptance of others, detrimented a tendency to moodiness that can lead to carelessness, the need to be wanted, hampered by oversensitivity. And, the third line day, the martyr day, we're talking about a trial and error process, bonds made and broken, a system of discovery by figuring out what doesn't work. And on third line days, you want to be careful on the roads, be careful of things in your environment, whether it's a swinging door or a swinging elbow, because things bump into us on third line days. Under that third line energy, we might have bonds made and broken, a trial and error process. It's a good material day, might be a good day to do business or work on the material plane, but you have to be careful because things can go wrong, but the things are there to lead to discovery. And then on the 30th, the sun moves up into the fourth line of the 19th hexagram at 11:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where and the sun in the 19.4 is described as the team player, individual approach which attracts and accepts cooperation, exalted the power and energy for outward activity and the ability to accept others as long as they can keep up, the driving force that can benefit the whole group, the energy to keep out and the energy to seek out and exalt in the company of others, detrimented, attractive, and cooperative, but a tendency to dissatisfaction with the contribution of others, a sensitivity energized by the limitation of others. And fourth line days, again, we're shifting from the lower trigram, which is a personal process, to the upper trigram, which is transpersonal. Lower trigram more focused on self, upper trigram more focused on the other. So from an inward process to more looking outward with the fourth line day. The themes that we'll look at with the fourth line are friendship, companionship, networking. So fourth line energy is very good for social interaction. People are more open to networking, to being friendly and social. And then on the 31st, the sun moves out of the opportunist line up into the line of the heretic, the fifth line of the 19, with the shift happening at 9:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 19.5 is described as sacrifice, the need to limit personal potential in order to achieve a target goal, exalted self-restraint fundamental to such a nature. Energy to keep one's sensitivities restrained, detrimented a tendency to sacrifice, in sacrifice to condescend. Sacrifice can fuel a lack of sensitivity. And like I said before, fifth line days, we're dealing with projection, and from that projection, there's suspicion, but also universalization. There's seduction, but also paranoia, which all of those certainly impacts the nature of our relationships. So no matter what the energies are that are conditioning you during the week, just remember this experience is about being a passenger riding in a vehicle that's being driven by the magnetic monopole. So enjoy the scenery. Let the vehicle take you where you need to go through using your strategy and authority. Every day is a blessing, no matter what dramas are beckoning to distract us. We're all here just giving the performance of our lifetime on the world stage. Just take some time to observe the play, observe your movie, as well as acting your part by remembering you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the weekly neutrino forecast will be on February 1st of 2015. Should be available on January 31st, when we'll continue to look at the influence of the heavenly bodies as they transit the sky and the hexagrams of the I Ching. You can check us out on Facebook, Blogger, or YouTube. There's New World Birth presences in all those places. And I encourage you to share this information as video or as text as widely as you choose. And you can contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or you wish to schedule a reading. And if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I'd love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. And you can contact me again, newworldbirth@yahoo.com, if you want to make a donation or get a reading. These readings have a lot of information in them, as you can tell by these reports. Have a lot of information, but that information, of course, is all about you. And the readings tend to run, up to starting at around 2 hours usually, and sometimes quite a bit longer than that. And they are dense, just like these reports are, and very helpful for knowing how to navigate as yourself. So anyway, as always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh, and as Ra would say, love yourself. And as always, I'm really grateful that you've taken the time to connect with these offerings, and look forward to connecting with you in a reading or a future video, or even just answering a question if I can be of service. So thanks everybody, all my best.